Being a movie enthusiast, if you're not living under a rock, I'm sure you're well aware of the vile replicating alien from John Carpenter's The Thing. The storyline of The Thing follows an encounter with a monstrous parasitic creature that shapeshifts and imitates other living organisms, the chaos of which creates utter trust issues and conflict among the group mates. It is based on Who Goes There, the novella published in August 1938 and written by John W. Campbell. So what really is this creature? The Thing is a shape-replicating organism that comes in contact with a desired host and becomes just like them. Directed by John Carpenter, The Thing is a sci-fi horror that was first released in theaters in 1982. An early version of the character exists in Christian Nyby's The Thing from Another World, which was released in 1950. The replicating ability of The Thing is not only limited to living beings, but also freshly killed victims. Not just the body, The Thing is also able to mimic the personality, traits, and even the memories of the host. With that in mind, let's dig into the details of this hostile creature. Before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thank you. Let's begin. How did the creature come into existence? The first interaction with the Thing happened during the winter of 1982 when the Norwegian crew discovered the extraterrestrial creature at Thule Station. They found the alien stealth predator to be in a frozen state. It appeared to have come to Earth 100,000 years ago on an extraterrestrial spacecraft that crash-landed at the time. In a deleted scene of the 2011 prequel film, the original aliens of the spaceship were two other pilots who discovered the existence of this gruesome creature when they were on a space expedition. The alien pilots decided to store it for further inspection, but the Thing managed to break through the spaceship. In order to survive, the pilot aliens decided to crash the spacecraft into Earth, but the Thing eventually killed them. Though it managed to survive the crash, it ended up freezing on Earth and remained that way until discovered by the Norwegian crew. But why did it not die? The Thing is invulnerable to even sub-zero temperature. It was taken back in the form of a frozen ice block to be examined. A shocking, tragic event takes place when Dr. Sander Halvorsen wanted to inspect it by collecting the tissue samples, and its results in the alien stealth predator being released from the frozen ice. Upon finding him, it was set on fire. However, Lars's dog was attacked after the escape of the creature and thus assimilating its body through the Thing's shape-shifting ability. The filmmakers perhaps decided to name it Thing due to its non-existent identity of its own. In the opening scene of The Thing 1982, the gore and horrifying details of his transformation can be seen. The Thing imitates the lone dog of the Norwegian crew and viciously assimilates other sled dogs in the kennel. It then transforms into another form by splitting its own head into some three-jawed creature, lastly mutating into a spider-like form with giant legs and tentacles. What is the structure of the Thing? The Thing is a colonial organism that does not inherit any standard anatomy. By nature, it can replicate among living beings and thus process the same biology as the organism. The Thing also is capable of functioning quite normally, even with the absence of primary senses such as vision or smell. In times of need, it produces a suitable biological structure to accomplish such senses to get adjusted in the environment. It copies the mannerisms as it comes in contact with the victim. Disturbing visuals take place when the Thing replicates its form into something else. Anatomy of the previous host, such as limbs, guts, eyes, or bits of faces, rearranges in an uncomfortable way to replicate the desired organism's shape. However, the Thing also mimics various health defects as the host. In the movie, Norris's weak heart problem was replicated by the creature. Another important structure of it is that it's capable of becoming separate creatures, thus multiplying and operating independently. It can also change its appearance rapidly from one to another in self-defense. This alien stealth predator gets well accustomed to the environment of Earth due to its ability to adapt to the victim's characteristics. By changing the shape and size of claws and tentacles, it improvises on the ways of attack. When Norris's body was being burned, this hostile alien was seen to be splitting into more. One can only imagine how difficult it is to overpower and defeat the Thing, as it can easily rebuild its structure even with a single living cell. The smallest physical interaction can result in infection at a rapid scale. When Thing assimilates an organism completely, they are already dead. But despite this, the imitation of the person is so accurate that it is impossible to differentiate. Fire and molecular acid pose a great threat to it and cause damage to it at the cellular level. General attacking will not cause any injury, and it is able to reconstitute quickly after taking a hit. As the only aim of the thing is to become the most powerful and dominant in existence, it continues to create more parasitic individuals and multiply in numbers. With the thing's tremendous amount of strength and energy, the horrifying series of more individuals like him keep on showing up. From sled dogs to centipedes, the bodily characteristics were constantly replicated along with the multiple stamina and speed of the hosts. In the end, even a few infected birds were seen, indicating the vast possibility of destruction on Earth. How does this shape-shifting entity replicate any human or creature? The extraterrestrial being doesn't have an inborn anatomy that we can rule. There's no everyday feature or appearance by which we can identify the nightmarish creature. Its ability to shapeshift happens on a genetic level. Something like its genes are encoded with a specific set of instructions to absorb the victim and replicate itself from head to toe. The entire process is quite strenuous for the viewer because the thing splits open into different organisms it has previously assimilated before it finally shapeshifts into the desired victim. Despite having any of the 5 senses or a medium to interact with its surroundings, the alien entity can mimic the everyday function of its prey effortlessly. Even though the replicating alien can consume and digest any living organism to its last shred, it is, however, unable to assimilate non-living things. The 2011 prequel movie confirms this when Kate Leod, the American paleontologist, finds blood-soaked metal fillings, speculating the creature might have spat it out during the replication process. In order for the shapeshifting to take place, the thing must come in physical contact with its prey. After analyzing its cellular components, it consumes and replicates the host victim. But there's a catch. The creature is also able to differentiate between its ideal prey and an impractical prey. It'll only absorb the living or recently killed beings and discard something that's been dead for a period of time. This is primarily due to confronting and tackling someone who's more intelligent and can identify the dead victim. And if this is overbearing for you and you feel like slicing the thing in half with a chainsaw, you'd be in for a shock. Because when it gets cut in two, it's still able to replicate and become 2 different creatures that can operate on their own. For example, when the thing takes over Norris, it is somehow able to grow legs right under his head in order to escape. But this situation also depends on the size of its threat. The thing can use its existing biomass in order to retain, add, or reduce size owing to the intimidation. Even if the alien entity shapeshifts into a cute bunny, you'll still be at odds because any form it takes is capable of producing inhuman strength and speed. There's just no beating this creature, is there? Just how smart is this alien creature? The intelligence of this creature is solely dependent on its size. The more biomass it accumulates, the smarter it will act. But if it assimilates a host victim of smaller size, it will act purely out of instincts. The novel confirms this theory when McCready explains his idea in particular after testing the infected blood sample. A petri dish of its blood sample would vigorously try to defend itself when exposed against a threat. Let's say a hot needle in this instance, purely out of its instinct for survival and preservation. The scene where it assimilates Norris and forms a spider head is a great example. It didn't have sufficient biomass to structure a brain center and blew its cover while attempting to flee in the presence of a greater threat. But when it's able to find a larger prey, the thing is most likely to stay hidden and maintain its cover for survival. A full-scale version of the thing is extremely intelligent and sly. There's a theory that states it combines the gathered intelligence of every prey it has ever consumed, and this theory is evidently visible when the thing assimilates Blair and is able to build an alien spacecraft purely out of inherited intelligence. And not just that, it's even smart enough to trick its victims into a divide and conquer strategy. When the thing took over Edward, it dissected itself into 3 separate entities to defend itself, and each carried out its individual missions for survival. One began to assimilate Jonas, the other scurried somewhere safe and started looking for new prey, while the central half butchered Derek and started assimilating Adam. Now, we don't really know whether the spacecraft that initially crash-landed belonged to the thing that took off from its mother planet. There is another possibility that the original pilots were captured by the thing, but the ship crash-landed because it wasn't able to operate the controls. Even to this day, there are an awful lot of burning questions related to this cult classic, but a little mystery keeps the fire burning, doesn't it? can the thing be killed? The grisly alien creature that can replicate and mimic other people is a terrible option for you to bump into if you're thinking about going on a new adventure with your friends. From what we learned about its characteristics and inhuman abilities, it'll have the upper hand no matter what. But you must be thinking, there's something we can do, right? There has to be a way to kill it. Well, look no further. There are some definitive countermeasures you can take if you're ever up face to face with John Carpenter's The Thing. The first step would obviously be to correctly identify the shape-shifting creature. Its unique ability to replicate leaves the entire expedition team baffled. But blood tests are an essential way to identify a clone from the original. We have to keep in mind the process of replication happens on a cellular level, each cell in its own organism that can absorb and replicate others separately. The blood tests work by forcing the independent cells to act and crawl away against a suddenly exposed threat, like a searing hot needle. Self-preservation is the primary instinct of this creature. Another variant of this blood test the 2002 video game introduced is called the blood test hypo, where a portable device is used to identify an imitation through chemical exposure. But identifying the creature is just the first step. And now, coming to what really kills it. The thing is extremely vulnerable to fire. Explosives such as dynamites and flamethrowers obviously are the worst nightmare of this disgusting alien. However, there are times when the thing has tried extinguishing the flame with its different tactics. Unless completely burned, few cells can still survive and multiply. The Thing from Another World by Christian Nyby is another version released in 1951, where the thing was a man with gigantic claws. Here, the fire did not seem to kill or damage the alien at all. So what worked, you ask? The answer is electricity. The scientists set an electric trap to electrify and finish its existence. The 1982's version of the thing has weaknesses such as fire or explosive, but some hints of being vulnerable to electricity also came to light. Dr. Copper uses a defibrillator on Norris when he was having a heart attack. To his utter shock, the electricity triggers the thing and bites off Dr. Copper's arms. There are endless possibilities and weapons that humans can use against the thing, but the best possible option is fire and flames till it's completely gone into ashes. The Thing has set the standard of disturbing horror and survival films really high, and with a solid origin story and special effects used in the film, it is known to be way ahead of its time. The gore details and visuals of the character repulse the audience till this date. Its true form can be described as an alien creature with 3 eyes and blue-colored hair. In the film, the assimilation details are also shown very vaguely in the darkness, and the horrifying shifting and disturbing transformations are only present in the movie. It's interesting that the thing's appearance is different from the novel in the movies. John Carpenter claims it to be his best and favorite work and not to be messed with. Tell us what you think of the character in the comments below. Were you able to sit through the horrifying lunacy and the madness of the thing? And if you liked our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Have a good one and be safe. Thanks everyone.